Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am back with this gorgeous mould combo from Moulds and Shapes. I've got the Royal Coaster on the left and the Tea Light Holder on the right. And we're also going with Druzies again because I am obsessed with Druzies in Jesmonite. Let's go. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my Druzies down into the candle holder and into the tray on the left. Now these are available from Moulds and Shapes and they will be linked below. They make a gorgeous combo. If you haven't already seen my previous video, please do check it out. But another big shout out to Petra because she's been using these moulds non-stop and made some stunning designs with Druzies and Jesmonite, and yeah, it's because of her I'm obsessed. But here I am just placing them down. You really want to make sure that your Druzies are clean. I'm not worried about the tops, I'm worried about the bottoms, the bits that are going to cling to your silicone. So I just used sellotape to clean my Druzies before I place them down, and in a way this also makes them a little bit static so they cling even better. The candle holder I was worried about because I thought, how am I going to stick the Druzies in, flip it around the right way and they stay? So I ended up kind of doing a combination of both. I stuck a Druzy in like you see here, and it really does stick. It's really kind of statically stuck to the silicone mold. I flipped it inside out and it stayed, so I was really happy with that. But I did decide at that point I'm gonna just put some Druzy pieces down inside, and this was tricky. Like, I don't know why I make life difficult for myself, but you know, first world tricky, do you know what I mean? I tried to kind of get a little bit down the side, a little bit of detail along the edge, and some in the lip, so that when we demold, the actual lip of the candle holder is going to have some really interesting detail. And for the tray, I didn't feel like one piece of Druzy was enough, so I know I cut some more up. I ended up cutting like a circular shape around the side so that it would just fit in really nicely and create a really rugged edge. You can see it here. There's like a really rugged edge. But what I did do as well with these was bring it up against the lip of the tray as well. So when we demold, the Druzy effect will go over the edge like a waterfall, which I just thought, well, fingers crossed, I was thinking, hopefully that looks pretty. I'm going to dust them with the same powder that I've been using, and this is the floating pigment powder from Just For You Online. Now, it is very messy, but I now know that alcohol and wet wipes gets this off real easy, so I wasn't too nervous about, you know, dusting all of the Druzies in this gold. And I'm using a really fat, thick, but soft makeup brush, and this just does the job so perfectly. At one point I was thinking, could I dust the Druzies before putting the Druzies in the mould? That way I'd have less mess, but truth be told, it wouldn't work. There'd be too much of a risk of getting some of that powder on the underside of the Druzy, and then it just would not stick to your mold. The undersides have to be so clean to create that bond. So it's just easier to do it this way and then spend a little bit of time afterwards cleaning up your mold. So here we are. I'm going to use some alcohol. I'm running out of this alcohol. This is my like 99.99% alcohol, and just using that on a tissue just cleaned up the mold really perfectly. I was going to try and have some powder running through the mold, but I thought it might just look too messy. So I used a little bit of tape to get rid of any excess debris that might still be in there. And then just at the top where you can see that loophole, I dusted a little bit there with my brush in the hopes that it would create a really nice effect. Now I was aiming for a dark blue here. I was ideally aiming for a navy. Navy blue is a little bit hard to get, but it's possible. You just need a really dark blue to start with and then add your black to kind of make it a navy. But I feel like I didn't add enough blue. I definitely didn't add the 2% blue. If you add the 2% blue, you get this deep, rich blue. but I didn't. I think I was just so nervous. I was so nervous of just making the wrong colour. So I decided to just continue on and add the black until I was happy with the colour. This is the Jesmonite liquid, of course, and then I added the powder in. Once I was happy with my shade, I added the powder in. Now this mixture is 200, so it's 200 liquid to 500 powder, and it wasn't enough, so I now know next time to mix up the 250. It was enough to create them both. It was plenty. I mean, they work, they're fine, but it did give me a nice flat base on the candle as opposed to the beautiful soft kind of rounded base that you would have seen in previous videos. So yeah, I quite like the contrast. I liked that it was different. So lots and lots of tapping, but I did want to be careful. I was nervous that the Jesmonite would seep under the druzy. It really wasn't a problem though, because on demold it's only 30 minutes later and it's still soft enough to peel the druzy out if any does get on top. And you can see some of that gold floating powder actually floating, so that might be worth trying out someday. So this is 30 minutes later and we are demolding. I like to turn my pieces upside down. It lessens the impact on the Jesmonite and it's less likely to break. However, this piece is so thick, I just don't see that ever happening, to be honest. And I'm already in love. I start peeling back the druzies and you can see pieces of Jesmonite flying everywhere. This is the time when you want to kind of, you know, have protective glasses on maybe, because any Jesmonite that has seeped under that druzy will fly off in every direction. So you just want to be aware of it here. You can see it's almost like dangerous ammunition flying through the air, but yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm loving the gold mica. I'm loving it against the blue and the way it comes down the side. Loving it. So rustic. Really loving it. And I'm loving that kind of edge, the edge at the bottom. What's the word for it? Uneven is the word for it. Here I am demolding the candle. Now you can already see it's got the flat base because I didn't fill the mold completely to the top. If I did that, it would have had a nice rounded edge, but I was still happy there was enough depth at the bottom of the candle holder for it to be a usable, functional piece. And just giving it a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a shimmy and a, you know, pull it out and it does come out quite easily. But you just want to be careful because silicone is a delicate being and you don't want to rip it. And I'm excited by this. I ended up flicking some of that powder into the candle holder. Probably didn't mention that before, but on demold now I'm realizing that is what I did. And yeah, now it's a case of trying to get these druzies out, because obviously this is a different mold. This is a vertical mold, and some of that a lot of that Jesmonite did seep underneath the druzies, but like I said, it's still soft at this point and you can just peel it off and tease out the druzy, and loving it. I'm loving that raw edge. I'm loving it so much. This one here, again, you can see Jesmonite just flying off in every direction. The mess is real, so be prepared for this if you do use this technique. And again, I'm loving it. Of course, I couldn't dust these druzies. I couldn't dust them whilst they were in the mold. The mess, it would have been impossible to clean up the edges, to clean up the rest of the mold. So I decided to just put them in raw, you know, fresh and clean with no colour added, and then colour them after the fact, which is what I continue to do. And yeah, I'm loving the way they just look like they're ripped out of the sides. I'm loving this. Absolutely adore. So now it is time to colour these in. So I am using my Deco Colour gold pen, and I honestly thought it would be a lot harder than it was. I thought with all of the details, the crevices, you know, the nooks and crannies, I wouldn't really get a good cover on it. But I don't know, it was really covering it so easily. It was just a case of holding it at different angles to make sure that you did get down and in. Really not hard, and yeah, I was really happy about that. So I just went over all of the druzy sections of the candle and filled them completely up. It was time consuming, which is why I've cut half of it out and sped it up for you, because no one's got time for that. And it was at this point I thought, oh, they're very different now. So now I'm gonna have to go onto the holder, onto the tray, with my gold pen and do all of that as well, just to match. And here we are. I'm sorry, stop it. Look at my transitions, guys. How lame are my transitions? I'm trying. But yeah, I'm loving it. And this gold pen has got such a sparkle to it, so I'm loving the light that reflects off. I ended up going around that rustic raw edge with a pen line. I just thought it would look pretty. I don't know. I thought it would look neater. Let me know if you would have done the same. Afterwards, I thought, should I have just left it raw, like a raw edge? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I do things and afterwards I'm not sure if I should have. But it still looks really cute and gorgeous. And you can see there's a lot of detail there that I've still missed with the gold pen. So I do make sure that they are fully covered before I continue. So this is 24 hours later and I am sealing. I decided to show you the sealing again in this video. It's the most common question I get, even though I do cover it quite a lot. So the first coat of sealer is your 20% water mixture. So 20% water, 80% neat Jesmonite acrylic sealer in a bottle. Shake it up, and that is what I do. I apply it with a cheap kitchen sponge from Tesco's, and then I rub over it with a dry bit. So I apply it with one piece of sponge and then I rub over it with a dry bit just to take away any streaks that might occur. So I'm showing you how I'm finishing this off. This is the very next day again. So this is quite a lengthy process. You really need to wait 24 hours for that sealer to fully dry, fully cure. You need to wait 24 hours for the Jesmonite to fully cure before you add the sealer. So it can be quite a lengthy process, but it's all worth it in the end. I added my cork sheet and I think it looks so neat and tidy, and I used my craft knife to get in and around that loophole to carve it out nicely. For the candle, I decided to add some on there as well, and you can see this edge, it's a bit of a wibbly wobbly edge, just to match the bottom of the candle, otherwise it would just be sticking out. It's time to add the beads. I went in with a bright gold and my professional rig here, my professional setup. I used some twine, some pegs in a cardboard box to spray them with the gold, and oh my goodness me, doesn't it look very it looks very royal, which is fitting because that is called the Royal Coaster. And yeah, I think it works really well. Now you can see here that I did add a gold line on the outside of that large druzy area. I added a gold line. I very nearly added more, but I stopped myself. And yeah, I love it. I love it with the gold beads. Oh my goodness. Someone did say that I could have sprayed the beads in my first video, but I really didn't want to. I wanted them natural, organic, and just really natural. No other word for it. But in this one, of course, they had to be sprayed gold, and it works with the twine. The twine in its natural colour, it just works. So yeah, I'm obsessed. I am definitely going to be doing more Jesmonite and Druzy, because you would have seen over this past week and a half, I've done loads with the Druzys and the Jesmonite. They work so well together. I'm loving it. Let me know what you think of the colour scheme. Let me know what colours you would go for. And yeah, thank you so much if you are still with me. I appreciate you all. And I will see you in the next video. And this video is being filmed a little bit ahead of schedule. So I don't know if I'm going to be at 60,000 by the time this video airs. I'm like 800 away right now, so big ask. But yeah, never know guys, never know. I'm excited. I might be there by now. I might still be hundreds off. So we shall see. Anyway, I will see you all then. Bye.